Hi everyone, welcome back to the channel. It is very, very early here. It is just past 6 a.m., but I have a little bit of a bout of insomnia. I've had that all weekend, can't sleep, and I wanted to talk about this energy and could just come on here and do a little channeling for you guys, for myself as well, to kind of understand what is going on here. If you missed it, or even if you didn't, I did an Ascension update on Friday called The Winds of Change. It's a collective message here in the channel. I'll link it in the description box below, where I talked about a massive energy shift that I felt. I came in on Friday, and it felt like a magnetic pulse is the only way I can describe it. It was a shift, an energetic shift that I felt within my entire being, my whole body. And it's been a while since I felt it that viscerally. Usually I feel energy shifts in short little bursts or short little waves, but this felt really big. And what they had given to me was the winds of change. It was the wind. I remember noting that the wind picked up outside my window, and it was the Scorpion song that I was singing myself to, the winds of change. And this is what it felt like. It felt like a collective shift. Now, not just collective as in speaking of sacred partners and sacred unions, although that has the ripple effect, but collective is in a global collective energy. And it felt like a influx of light codes. It felt like, I'm hearing geomagnetic, so I feel like this came as this influx of light onto the earth as a whole. And I felt it especially within the heart chakra. And what I was actually seeing was the heart chakra really lit up within the collective as a whole. And again, it felt like a big pulse. Now, what I had said in that channeling in that video was everybody's going to experience this in their own way, and everybody's going to experience this in their own timing. So if you did not feel that when I was talking about it, it could be that it's to come. It could be that you already felt it. Just trust your journey. Everybody picks up on energy a little bit different, and everybody feels things a little bit differently. My job is just to bring forth what my experiences are and channel through my experiences for the help of the collective. But trust what you are experiencing. Trust what you are feeling for your journey as well. That is one of the most important tenets that I live by. Trust your journey. What I had also said was that we might be experiencing this energy, even though it felt like a lot of calm, a lot of peace, and a lot of love. It was interesting because I also said that there might be a little bit of a purge that comes through with it. You might experience an influx or an imbalance of emotions, and you might not. Again, it's going to resonate a little bit differently for everybody. It's the analogy of the house, right? Your house is essentially you. And so you can't have new furniture if you still have the old furniture in. It's the same with belief systems. It's the same with patterns of behavior, mindsets, perspectives, etc. Part of this ascension journey is allowing ourselves to expand, grow, open our minds, open our hearts to new understandings, new beliefs, see where old beliefs may have been holding us back, to cement our beliefs even further. It's all part of the journey. What is your truth? It's a discovery of truth because it's a discovery of self. So part of my cat is pretty active now tonight too. So I don't know if you guys can hear the little bell that he's playing with. Part of the experience of bringing in higher frequencies and higher vibrations is releasing the old. And so when we're in the process of bringing in the light codes, a lot of the old stagnant stuff, what I like to call that soul sludge, has to come up to the surface. I call it excavation of the self, because that's essentially what we're doing, especially when it comes to the ego self, the old version of self, the human self, to understand the soul self. Now, along this journey of ascension, we are the bridge, and it's really important to understand that as well. It's not just about one or the other. It's not just about spiritual versus human. It is about being the bridge between both, bringing our spirituality to our human life experience, or bringing that spiritual consciousness to our human life experience. Let's put it that way. Part of that is we have a lot of conditioning, we have a lot of patterning coming from society, coming from learned behaviors, coming from our upbringings, coming from our ancestors, coming from past lifetimes, coming from the multiverse, multiple universes, just coming from everywhere. And so we're bringing it all back. We're bringing it all back to who we are as at center, who we are as a soul, who we are as an aspect of God. So part of that is excavating, releasing, clearing, healing, whatever word that you want to use, the old outdated templates, paradigms, beliefs that might have been formed from that conditioning, that might have been formed from that learned behavior. But is it authentic? Is it true to you? Is it true on the soul level? So we have to clear out a lot of that energy, and that's what we've been doing along our ascension journey. That's what this sacred union path of ascension truly has been, where you're walking that path with another, that another person has been a catalyst for you. And if you don't have another person, then you've been catalyzed by an event. You've been catalyzed through your awakening for your soul growth, for your evolution, for your soul's expansion. So you might be experiencing an influx, it's temporary, and it might even be mild, but it's a temporary influx of emotion, temporary imbalance, could even go as far as a dark night of the soul, but I don't feel like that's the truth for many. I feel like it's going to be more like a tower moment that might feel like a dark night of the soul, could be a crisis of faith, but for the most part, it's just a temporary imbalance of emotions, bringing whatever is still kind of lodged within the subconscious to the surface to be cleared away. Because more light is coming in, higher frequency is coming into your physical body, to your physical being. And that's what happens when your soul really rises to the forefront. You're not held back within the soul by that dense, heavy energy. Your soul is infinite. Your soul is the highest frequency there is, and you're remembering that. Your soul is, in essence, love. Your soul is, in essence, God's source, connected to God's source, an aspect of God's source. And so you're clearing away a lot of that dense, heavy energy that essentially was telling you who you're not, to remember who you truly are. So this could come up in a number of different ways, and I'm going to share with you how I experienced it. It was a really harrowing experience for me, actually. Did not expect it, did not anticipate it. But when I was processing it with a friend, I really began to understand what had happened. So, friends and part of the community members, you guys have emailed me or commented saying that you were experiencing the same thing, that you felt the shift, that you experienced a lot more of that light energy where it felt really loving and calm, but then you kind of went into a little bit of a purge, or at the very least, a little bit of an emotional trigger. A little bit of an emotional tower moment, where it could have been like the ego was flaring a little bit, where you were having, I felt like you might have been regressing into like some old thoughts, some old beliefs, some old questioning, some old doubts, fears, etc. Again, that's a purge. It's a releasing of old energy so that the new can really integrate and the new can really anchor in. Because again, you can't bring in new furniture if the old is already there, because that just creates a lot of clutter. And you don't have to hold on to the old either. That's what an attachment is. Okay, so I want to share a little bit about my experience. First of all, one of you so sweetly commented on the last video that there's been a change in my energy, and that you can see that, especially, and I can see that too, when I look back at the readings that I used to do, even from 2 years ago, 3 years ago, from the start of the channel, very different energy. And so upon that reflection, upon that physical looking back, being able to physically see that change, it really makes me feel grateful for this journey and everything that was experienced, to see that transformation and feel that transformation within myself, and to see that physical evidence from where I was. That's the beauty of evolution. That's the beauty of expansion. I do not in any way regret where I was. You don't know what you don't know. I was where I was because that's where my energy was. I was who I was then because that's who I was. And when I say who I was, I've always been as authentic to myself as possible. But part of evolution and part of expansion is that you grow. And part of that growth is that you change and you allow yourself to change. So one of you kindly commented, I think it was over on Instagram, that in the last video you could really see more peace within me. And that really struck me, because it really made me see that not only am I experiencing that within, which I have been for the past several months, the past several years, really anchoring in that inner peace, that inner union, but that it's starting to be seen externally. And we talk about that, right? Within, as within, so without. So that was beautiful validation. I really appreciated it. But it didn't feel like that yesterday. It didn't feel so peaceful. I had an experience where I haven't been sleeping very well. I've been working on my physical health, but I haven't been sleeping very well. And so I had finally gotten to sleep. I usually wake up during the night and then I'm able to fall back asleep, but it's on and off sleep, and we're working on that. But we had a gardener. 7:30 in the morning, I was jolted awake by the gardener outside my window and all the machinery. We were doing cleanup on the property, and there was no plan as far as when they would come. We had no idea when they would be coming, but there was cleanup on the property. And normally it's no big deal, lawnmowers and hedgers and all that stuff, no big deal, right? But for some reason, it just triggered the crap out of me, and not necessarily in a mental way, but in a very visceral way. I've been working on healing my nervous system for the past year, and it was almost like this triggered my nervous system where I couldn't cope. I couldn't calm myself. My nervous system was completely, in an instant, dysregulated, where I had really been working on regulating my nervous system, and that's what was bringing about a lot more peace. Because I've experienced a lot of trauma in my life in many different ways. Trauma doesn't have to necessarily be what is deemed traumatic situations. Trauma is anything where you are dysregulated. I've experienced that through illness. I've experienced that through loss. I've experienced that through jobs. I've experienced that through relationships, a lot of different scenarios. And through that, there's also been a lot of healing, a lot of strength, and a lot of overcoming. But my nervous system, you can't cheat the nervous system, right? You have to heal the nervous system. And so I've really been working consciously on healing the trauma within my nervous system. I've done a lot on my physical body, and continue to do so, and I've done a lot on my emotional body. And actually, my new doctor, who I'm very grateful for, God just seems to bring in people when you need them. My old doctor had retired, and my new doctor that I intuitively chose is very much understanding of energy. So is my personal trainer, actually, which is beautiful. She actually recommended my personal trainer, who is also a spiritual person, an intuitive. So working with these people for my physical health has been just an amazing gift, and I'm so entirely grateful for God for bringing them on my path at this juncture in time. And I've realized that every person that I've met on my path has served me for a purpose, has taught me, has helped me grow, has helped me heal, including the doctors that I had when I was very, very sick. So this is the next level of that. This is the next layer of my life, especially when it comes to my physical health. And God just brought the absolute best people to me for that. So I'm so grateful. So I'm digressing here. as I usually do, and especially since it's 6 in the morning. So healing the nervous system is what I've been working on for the past year, but I was just completely dysregulated, and I was doing everything that I could to calm myself. I was doing, just a lot of energy healing on myself. I was doing a lot of prayer. I was doing a lot of just everything, and it was not working. I was completely dysregulated. I tried taking a bath, but it was like I couldn't turn it off. It was like it was an analogy, and I think at one point I even did this. I had my hands covering my ears saying, make it stop, making stop, make it stop. Just like kind of like the rocking back and forth, make it stop, because I was so overstimulated. I haven't felt like that since I was sick with Lyme disease, when that illness itself, because of the bacteria, my nervous system was just completely shot. I had a lot of neurological issues and brain issues with that illness, and I could not handle stimulation. Now, that has since healed, but it brought me back to that state where I could not regulate myself. I could not regulate my nervous system. I could not handle any stimulation at all. And so for these machines to be like right outside my window, just so loud and constant for 2 hours, it was like that. And I ended up getting out of the bath and just collapsing on my floor in tears and sobbing. I was holding onto my dog for like dear life and just breaking down in sobs. And when I tell you, I have not been in that energy for a very, very long time. I have not been in that energy for a very, very long time. So I was like, what the heck is happening here? But it felt like I was an infant. It felt like I was a child. And where it didn't feel safe, it didn't feel, when you need somebody to care for you. Yes, in this life you are learning how you can support yourself, but you're also learning that you want to feel safe with others, that you want to be able to receive that support and love and safety and security from others. And especially when you're in your most vulnerable state. And it just felt like I couldn't regulate myself. Nobody was around that they could help me. I was getting that from my dog, but it didn't stop. I was able to finally, get myself together. I was able to get to work. We have fabulous healers at my place of work who was able to help me facilitate my own healing, because sometimes healers need healers too, and I have an amazing support group around me for that. And they were able to help me, and throughout the day I was able to re-regulate myself and feel better. And later, when I was processing, it was very interesting because as I was talking with a friend who was helping me to process, there was a lot of understanding that what this was doing was it was releasing a lot of that subconscious stuff that was kind of lodged in there. And we understand this about the Ascension journey, that Ascension is layers and layers and layers, right? It is as you ascend, as you evolve, as you expand, you're actually going deeper and deeper and deeper into the core of yourself. It's that inner spiral. Ascension is not outside of ourselves. Ascension is within. And we talk about the collective a lot, but the collective healing comes from our own individual personal healing. That's what unity consciousness is. It's understanding that we are all connected to each other. We're all aspects of that same source energy. We are all unique threads in the same tapestry of creation. But we also don't deny that we are unique threads. And so healing your individual self is what formulates the healing of the collective, or what helps to facilitate the healing of the collective. It's a ripple effect. It happens within first. It's not external, it's internal. It's all within us. It's all within you. So it was a lot that was coming to the surface of trust, vulnerability, this powerlessness, how for my entire life I've been on high alert, coming from illness, which I've been sick since I was, well, I'm not going to phrase it like that. I had been sick since I was very, very young, but always, and more so than the illness, it was that high alert energy. It was that feeling of safety in the world. So that was just an anecdote of how I experienced. There was an influx of light code. There was a massive shift in energy, but that shift in energy, that light, helped to dislodge what needed to be dislodged. So now I'm able to bring it up to my awareness. And even though it wasn't pleasant in that experience, like I said, it felt very harrowing. It was unpleasant is the understatement of the year for what I experienced yesterday. Did not feel good, did not feel safe. Always at the soul level, knowing that I'm well, but in that experience, but it was dislodging. It was dislodging all of that stuff that was still kind of stuck in there to be revealed to me, to bring to my awareness. And now that I'm aware of it, I can consciously work on it. That is the crux of your ascension journey. The crux of your ascension journey. Your triggers are not there to wound you. Your triggers are not there to hold your back. Your triggers are there to show you where the holes are, to show you where more love is to be brought into the situation, to show you where the work is, to show you what to focus on as far as the work. That's what your triggers are for. And so for me, it was this major dislodgement that brought to my awareness, okay, this is where I need to go next. I need to continue working on my nervous system, but in a deeper way. So that was what I had experienced. That was how I had experienced it. It might be a little bit different for each of you. You might be experiencing it in a little bit of a different way, obviously different situations. But don't let it lead you into this place of defeat or despair. Don't let it make you think that you are regressing. Don't let it make you think that you are doing something wrong. You're not doing anything wrong on your journey. You are going through a process. Ascension is a process, and it's really important to understand that too. Ascension is a process, and oftentimes it's a non-linear process. They're reminding us of that. It's a non-linear process. As humans, we like to be very fixed in our linearity. Because that gives us a sense of peace. It gives us a sense, no, they're not saying peace. They're saying it gives us a sense of control. And it's like a false peace, right? Because it's that ego. It's that ego likes certainty because ego tries to protect you. Ego doesn't want you to go through pain. So ego likes to stay in the familiar or what it knows is familiar because it likes to repeat patterns. It likes to apply patterns. Oh, I've seen this before. This is what might happen. So you follow that path so that it feels certain to you. So it feels like you're in control. But soul flows. Soul knows the way. Soul is always, always, always loving. And it knows the path. And even if it doesn't feel certain, that's where you learn to trust soul. That's where you learn to trust yourself. That's where you learn to trust that inner guidance, your intuition. Because that is what your soul is connected with. Your soul is connected with your intuition. Your soul is your intuition. And it might not be certain, but when you're connected with your intuition, when you're connected with your soul, with yourself, then you know that you are protected, supported, and always, always, always loved. Even if you are faced with the unfamiliar, even if you're faced with the uncomfortable. Okay, so I want to say hang in there. There has been a major shift, but trust in what you are experiencing. Trust in where your path is trying to guide you. Turn to those that you need to for support, for processing, for help, for healing. If you guys need, I have a list of people on my soul family that I really trust, healers that I really trust on my website. Turn to people within this community. We have a Facebook group that is set up so that we can communicate with each other and really continue to build this community. It is a private group, so do make sure that you're joining. But feel free to open up there if you feel the need to connect. This is an amazing community full of beautiful people who understand this journey, who understand this process. So a lot of you guys have already connected through the live streams. So allow yourself to to engage over on the Facebook group as well, in the comments, wherever you feel comfortable. But allow yourself to engage there as well, or at least, with your own soul family, with your own communities, where you feel connected, where you feel supported, and where you feel loved. You are always all three of those things here in this space. That's what we're here for in this community. But turn to your own groups, your own soul family, your own soul sisters and brothers at this time as well, for that support, because that's what we're here for. We are here journeying together. All right, how is this applying to divine counterparts? How is this applying to sacred unions? What does this mean? Everything that we do individually applies to sacred unions if you're in a sacred connection like this, because it has a ripple effect. The sacred union path is the path of the soul. It is the path. It's the journey home is what I'm hearing, but you're doing that with another. And the home, what is home? The journey home is the home within yourself. It's your connection to yourself and your connection to God. And that's the journey home. It's the journey home to God, but that journey home to God is not external. It's not what I think a lot of religions call as like the afterlife. It's within ourselves. That's what Yeshua really taught us that the kingdom of heaven, the kingdom of God is within us. That's what enlightenment truly is. That is what this ascension truly is. It's within. It's not something that is external, including something that happens externally. It is these shifts. It is the experience within ourselves, within our energetic bodies. And again, we are the bridge. We are the bridge between the spiritual and the human. And that's what we're learning within this new age. And I don't like to use that phrase, but within this new age, this new paradigm, this new template, this new earth kind of energy, that's what we're learning in this time and space, is that we are the bridge. It's not external, it's all within. And as we shift our energy within, then we experience changes without. But we're shifting the energy within first. Ascension happens here in this lifetime, within you. It's not something that is external. And so when you're walking the sacred union path of with each other, it's understanding that you're walking the sacred union path of love. The path of love, and love is all within. Connection is all within. God is all within you. Okay. So just to reiterate, when you're calling each other home, like we talked about in the Sacred Union energy update previously, when you're coming home to yourself, you're coming home to God in this incarnation within yourself, remembering who you are on the soul level. And then embodying that in this incarnation, in this lifetime. That's what your ascension journey is all about. It's about the embodiment of the sacred, the embodiment of God, the embodiment of love, the embodiment of higher level heart, higher level energy, higher level frequency, higher level soul. It's the embodiment of who you truly are. That's when you come home to yourself. And when you come home to yourself, you come home to each other, because it's the other that is part of you. So how is this energy, this shift, affecting your sacred connection with another? Let's put it that way. How is this energy shift affecting your connection with another? It's creating forward movement with the Chariot here. And I'm also getting that it's creating more balance. I'm seeing the yin-yang sign in my mind. And the yin-yang for me is the sacred union. It's been that way for the past 5 years that we've been channeling. Because what I used to see was it might look or feel like there are individual parts. It's the, I'm going to use this deck. I'm going to get an example so you guys can see what I'm seeing. So the yin-yang is also the feminine masculine energy, and that is the balance of life. We see that, as we talked about over the summer, we see that in all of nature, the balance of the polarities, the balance of energies, and we all have the balance of energies within us as well, the balance of the masculine and the feminine energies within us as well. We talked about that when I went to New York to see the waterfalls, how we were reminded of the masculine and feminine energy in nature, how the waterfall itself was an example of that beautiful balance, because the water itself is that feminine energy of flow, and if it's not contained, not in a controlled way, not in a restrictive way, but just within the structure of the rocks, in the structure of the banks of the riverbed, for example, the structure of the waterfall itself, if it's not contained, then that water just floods everywhere. That's a feminine energy. To store feminine energy is that flood. But when it's contained within the presence of the masculine, when it's structured within the conscious awareness and held within the safety, security, that protective energy, that container of the masculine, then it creates a beautiful fluid energy. It creates a beautiful fluid balance. That's what the yin yang is here. In distortions and separation, you have two pieces, and what they had shown me was you have the yin and you have the yang, and it's separated, right? And separated, nothing happens. It's almost like I'm seeing this piece over here and this piece over here in their separation. But what happens in union, what happens in the balance, is the polarities come together, it locks into place, and it's almost like this becomes a wheel, turning forward, moving forward, manifesting, creating in a very powerful and magnetic way. It's a very natural harmonization that happens, but it only happens when the two polarities are at the same frequency, when it's matched, when it is working together in harmony. I'm also hearing for the same goal. And for the same goal doesn't mean an external goal like, oh, let's build a business together, let's have a relationship together, let's have a family together. But for the same goal as far as the frequency, for the same goal as far as your soul mission, your soul, I don't even want to use that, they're saying, for the same goal as in, the same soul goal. But again, it's not a goal. The goal is not the right word. That's what they're saying. Goal is not the right word. For the same energy, for the same aspect of love. It's that loving harmony, that loving polarity. When you balance those polarities, when you come into harmony, that's what creates the balance. That's what creates the harmony. That's what moves the wheel forward. And it's just like an embrace. It's an embracing of each other. It's an embracing of the other. And that's what unity consciousness is all about. It's an embracing of the other by embracing that which is you. All as one. Let's put that up here. So I do feel this yin-yang energy. I do feel this balance, and I do feel this forward motion here. Let's see what else. Knight of Cups. There's movement again. The Knight of Cups isn't a very, we don't tend to think of it as a very action-oriented card, because the action-oriented cards are usually like the Knight of Wands or the Knight of Swords, which are very action-oriented and fast-moving. But there is movement here, especially with the Chariot, and it's movement forward. There is love, there is expression. And that comes first from the expression of self. And I'm just being shown the river here. There's a love that is now flowing. And again, you have the rocks. It's like this. It's like the feminine and masculine energy. The rocks are this masculine energy of stability, security, safety, protection, provider, but not just in the physical form. Energetically, we're talking about holding space for that feminine energy to flow, to move. And you have both within you. And once you really attain and understand and are aware of that inner union, that's when you're able to experience that within that partnership with another. And that's what this feels like. This feels like moving forward in connection, both within the self and within partnership with another. We've been talking about that for the past several months, that even though it feels like, even I want to feel like back towards spring, where I did a reading, something along the lines of, I'll put it in the description box, something along the lines of like, your union is here. Like it's here. It's not something outside of yourself. It's not something that you're seeking. Your union is within you, and it always has been within you. Even your union with another has always been within you and a part of you. It's not a destination. It's not something that you are attaining or acquiring. It's something that is within you. And the more that you anchor into that, and I feel like that's part of what this shift really was, these light codes coming in, was really helping you to integrate and anchor in that energy. The more you understand that, the more you're going to experience it in your physical world. And I can hear saying, because my ego is kind of like, well, what can you do if the other partner is not matching you, if the other partner is not meeting you? The important thing is to, again, have that unattachment. Your union is within you. Your union is part of you. Release how that looks, or how do you think that's going to look, or with whom you think that's going to look. Keep releasing all that energy. That's not to say that it's not going to be with the person that intuitively you feel is your partner. That's not going to say it's not going to create the life and the family that you desire. You have those desires. You have that intuition. You feel it in your heart for a reason. But don't cling to it. Don't grasp for it. Just like the water, especially if you're a feminine energy, core essence. I want to say if you're a feminine core essence, like the water, let that energy flow. Let that love flow. You're not attached to anything. The masculine energy is the structure. The masculine energy is that which really brings it into the physical. The feminine energy, the feminine essence, holds the energy, trusts the intuition, has that faith and trust in the universe, knows that she's connected to the universe. And so as she's connected to the universe, that high priestess energy, she is working. She is working to move the wheel forward energetically, but the masculine is the one that really brings that to fruition in the physical. It's not your job to force anything. It's not your job to control anything. That's where you anchor into faith and trust, both within yourself and with the universe. Tell me more about what's to come after this Knight of Cups, Queen of Cups. Look at how they're facing each other. I'm getting this sense of newness here, and Three of Cups, my union card. I'm getting this sense of union card. It's not quite the king here, but I like this. I like this Knight of Cups, because this Knight of Cups is very sincere, is very expressive. I'm getting very chivalrous energy, almost like a courting kind of energy, like the knights of old, for example. It's somebody who has a lot of integrity. I feel it's almost like this knight is about to become the king, but I like that he's not the king yet, because it's almost like this queen has a little bit of mistrust. Are you really the king, or are you just facading as the king? Are you really my king, or are you, like false king? Or is that just a mask that you're wearing? There's a little bit of mistrust here, but I like that it's the Knight of Cups, because there's a sincerity and a genuosity, I don't know. There's a genuine energy that's coming through from this Knight of Cups. And there's a pursuant energy too, almost like the Knight is saying, I'm not just going to be the king and be lazy here, knowing that I'm your match. I'm going to pursue you. I'm going to pursue this. Like this courting energy, but it's with dignity, it's with integrity. He's saying, let me show you who I truly am, without the mask, without the not quite facade, but without the pomp and circumstance that the king is giving me right now. I usually like the King of Cups, but right now the King of Cups is coming in with a little bit of a sense of ego, and that's what I feel like the Queen of Cups is doubting. She's like, if you were to come in straight away as king, I don't know if I would trust that, because it comes in like, I'm the king, I'm pomp and circumstance, I'm ego. There's an ego energy to it. I like the Knight of Cups because it's like slow and steady. Let me build a foundation with you. The Knight of Cups is saying, I see you as my queen. I know that I'm the king, but let me take it slow for you. Let me take it step by step. Let me show you that you can trust this, that you can trust me. It's going to be very emotional. It's bringing a lot of tears to my eyes. I feel like this person, this masculine energy that's coming through here really feels honoring of you in that way. They're respecting you. Maybe they hadn't respected you in the past, but they're honoring and respecting you in that way. They're wanting to bring you that sense of safety and security that maybe you hadn't had in your connection before, or in a connection before. And they're understanding this, recognizing this, and thus wanting to move, not necessarily slowly time-wise, but to give you that sense of safety and security, that sense of vulnerability, holding space for you that you need, that you deserve, and that even you require for this connection to work. Because I do feel like this person is your king, feels like your king. They feel like they're your king inside, and they're growing, maturing to become that king, to become that match, but they're approaching as the knight because it's like, let me take that slow for you. Let me show you the sincerity of my actions aligning with my words. Let me show you the truth of who I am. Very vulnerable, very open, very loving, but also very safe. Very cautiously aware of what you need and honoring of that. And so they're approaching this in a very honoring, respectful way for you. Let me show you that I've changed, is what I'm hearing. Wow. And what I'm also getting is this Queen of Cups, she's really appreciating that, really honoring that about the masculine in return. And she's saying, I've always held this love for you. This is my heart. She's a little bit reserved, but I feel like the masculine is respecting that and honoring that. And she's really appreciating that about him. She's appreciating too how openly loving he's being, how he's expressing himself to her, where she might be reserved now. He's helping to break down her defenses that have been built up, perhaps from this connection or previous connection. He's helping to slowly, not coming in with like a sledgehammer to break down her walls, but lovingly. And that's what love does. Love is patient. Love is kind, right? It's Corinthians. Love is patient. Love is kind. That's what he's doing. There's a different energy about this masculine. It could either be a new masculine or this transformed kind of energy, this ascended energy, approaching love differently, approaching you differently, feminines, approaching relationship differently because they're approaching themselves differently. I'm not getting into the masculine and what they've been through. This is all about your connection as a whole, is the energy that I'm getting. And especially the focus on the feminine now. There's a focus on the feminine versus what the masculine has been experiencing. I feel like they're saying, I know the battles that I've fought. I know the battles that I'm still fighting. But that's not your journey anymore. That's not your burden anymore. Let me show you that I love you. Let me show you how much I honor you and respect you. Let me show you now what I couldn't show you because I was hiding behind this armor before. He's lifting the armor. He's lifting the visor. He's lifting the mask. Let me show you now. I know I should have shown you in the past. I didn't know how. You always held that space for me. You always held that love for me. And I recognize that. Let me show you now that you can feel safe with me. Divine Feminine's still in a little bit of a reserved energy. She wants to open up completely, but she's going to have her boundaries. She's going to have her, it's a trust. It's a new foundation that has to be built for her. But I feel like the Divine Masculine is wanting to pursue this, and it's like, we'll take our time. We'll take our time now. I'm not feeling these at all. What do we want to know? What's after this? What's after this? Okay, that's the progression. We got the Eight of Swords. I think it was the Eight of Swords and like the Four of Cups, but I wasn't feeling that energy at all. It almost felt like it was back here, like it was in the past. It didn't feel like anything that was current. It didn't feel like anything that was present. It didn't feel like anything. I pick up on the energy of the cards. It didn't feel like anything. This Three of Wands, this Ace of Pentacles, that feels like this progression energy that we're in right now. It's exactly what I was saying, exactly what I was just channeling between the masculine and the feminine here, where it's like, let's take it slow. Let's continue to walk this path together. Let's manifest. The Three of Wands is an energy of your ships coming in. It's you walking your path, having made a decision for your path and walking your path, creating a future, that kind of thing, taking action for your future. You're laying a new foundation with the Ace of Pentacles. And what I like about the Ace of Pentacles is this is a very tangible foundation. This is a new beginning in a very tangible, even committed way. And when I say committed, I mean committed to each other. Whatever that looks like for your actual relationship, that's something to be discussed between you two, and it's going to be different for every couple, every counterpart couple. But this feels like commitment to love, commitment to each other, commitment to honoring each other, respecting each other, loving each other. And I'm also hearing growing together. Again, whatever way that looks like for you guys, but growing together in some way. What else do we need to know about this energy? Yeah, that's what I mean by this. Committed together, working together, collaborating together, creating together, loving each other. Committed to the love. Another card of commitment, this Six of Wands energy. And I almost said Six of Swords because it feels like that. It feels calmer. It feels more peaceful. It feels more harmonious. With the Six of Wands, it's this victory energy. It could be some kind of engagement as well. There's some kind of commitment. But understand that when we're talking about this, when I channel specifically, I don't channel so much in the 3D. I channel kind of higher level ascension energy. So this is all energetics, and how it looks in the 3D is going to be a little bit different for everybody. At least in this channeling, we're talking about the higher level stuff. This feels more like, and not just connecting energetically. Let me make that clear. Not just connecting energetically. You're connecting in the physical. There's physical connection, reunions that are coming in. But what that looks like as far as your relationship, what that looks like as far as your being a couple, what that looks like as far as you creating a home life, a family life, that's your human experience. That's your human journey. So it's going to look a little bit different for everybody. So when we're talking about energetics, we're talking about the energy of the physical relationship. Does that make sense? I just wanted to clarify. It's not like 5D versus 3D, because that's a split. That's a separation, right? We're talking about the energetics of what you're creating and manifesting as far as a physical connection, because this is a very physical connection that's coming in. That's what I mean by tangible. So when I say commitment, it could be getting married, it could be getting engaged, it could be starting a family together and living together and all that stuff. But we're talking about the energy of committing to each other, loving each other, building a foundation together in your physical world, building a connection together in your physical experience. But how that looks is going to be different for everybody. Knight of Wands at the bottom of the deck as well. I want to get a couple more cards, just one or two more cards. That's the card. That's it. It's balance. It's temperance. This is your union. It's this balance, this harmony, this healing that is happening here. And what I'm especially seeing is how she has one foot in the water and one foot on the ground. And that's the union that we're speaking of, the union of opposites, the feminine and the masculine, the beautiful flow of energies, all connected through you. Your inner union, your external union, your physical union, the balance of the masculine and the feminine. So I do feel like there's this union energy that is just, it's here. And I do feel like the masculine is wanting to communicate. This could be your inner union first. But I feel like a lot of you have been experiencing that inner union, and now it's going to be displaying itself in the external, especially again with the Ace of Pentacles here. Very grounding energy, showing me that this is coming into your physical world as some kind of partnership, some kind of foundation of relationship. I feel like your person is wanting to show you physically, through their emotional and self-expression, the love, the commitment that they have to you, to this journey, to themselves, to this connection now. Beautiful, beautiful energy here. All right, you guys, we'll be back sometime soon with some more readings, Sacred Union energy updates. Stay tuned. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Make sure you're giving this a thumbs up. Make sure that you are commenting. And I'm sending you all so much love, so much light, and we'll see you soon. Bye.